Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kareem Marshall. I am a program manager in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, and I work in the Equitable Development Branch. Today's presentation, or today's information session, is about the FY 2020 DC Equitable Capital Access Fund, or ECAF for short. The purpose of this fund is to ensure the operation of a program which serves to increase access to liquidity for small businesses, in particular, those that are majority owned by persons who have experienced historic discrimination in accessing capital and/or those located in Wards 5, Ward 7, or Ward 8, through administering a bond stop-loss program and providing educational programs which increase financial preparedness, fiscal health, and access to credit issuances for small businesses. And, if necessary, the relocation of such a business to Ward 7 or 8 if the business does not already operate in Ward 7 or Ward 8. The program will not fund debt or guarantees associated with any bond stop-loss program, but instead will support the administration of such a program. In the DC Economic Strategy, the mayor has identified a priority for setting DC up as a global model for inclusive prosperity. And this is going to be measured by two primary goals: whether or not we can grow a resilient economy which is driven by private activity, and the reduction of unemployment across wards, races, and educational attainment. We want to bring all rates below 10% in all segments of the district by the end of 2021. Now, this program in particular focuses on one of the goals for the administration's vision to make sure that we're a global model for inclusive prosperity. And this goal that we're focusing on is to grow a more vibrant and resilient economy that's driven by private sector expansion. The Equitable Capital Access Fund will facilitate the success and expansion of businesses, particularly those majority owned by persons who have experienced historic discrimination in accessing capital, and/or those located in Wards 5, Ward 7, or Ward 8, through administering a bond stop-loss program, and also providing educational programs which increase financial preparedness, fiscal health, and access to credit issuances for small businesses, and, if necessary, the relocation of such a business to Ward 7 or Ward 8 if it's not already there. The notice of funding availability was released on February 26th of 2021, and the request for application was released on March 12th. The original closing period for the RFA was March 29th. It has been extended to April 12th, 2021, at the same time of 4 p.m. If you would like more information about this RFA, you can find it on DMPED's website at the address below. Program funding. DMPED will award one grant of up to $500,000 to support the program. There should be no expectation that funds will be available from the district in the future to replenish the program or to provide supplementary funding. Now, we mentioned before that we want to increase access to capital for those who have been previously excluded. And I'd like to talk for a second about some of the eligible activities that are identified in the grant. Grant funds can be used to support these activities: providing bond underwriting and risk assessment for targeted small businesses, majority owned by district residents and district entrepreneurs, particularly those located in Ward 5, Ward 7, or Ward 8. District funds will not be used to fund the bond stop-loss guarantee. The funds can be used to solicit potential investors to invest in the targeted small business through a bond issuance. The funds are also eligible to be used for relocation expenses, office build-out, and any associated costs to relocate to Ward 7 or Ward 8 if necessary. The funds can also be used to provide technical assistance to targeted small businesses, particularly those majority owned by district residents and district entrepreneurs, primarily located in Wards 5, Ward 7, or Ward 8, on topics such as business planning, workforce development, communications, supply chain management, and other needs as identified by participants. Eligible applicants for this grant will include 501c3 nonprofit corporations, joint ventures, partnerships, cooperatives, and limited liability types of companies or corporations. The eligible applicants should be able to, one, should be able to demonstrate a commitment and experience in investing in small businesses, especially those that are in communities that have experienced historic disinvestment. They should be able to demonstrate program management experience. They should be able to demonstrate experience with capital development, in particular, the capacity to raise funds from financial and other private and public entities. Applicants should be able to demonstrate that they can fund a bond stop-loss program. This can be demonstrated through the documented commitments of investors or existing funds on hand to fund a stop-loss program. Organizational capacity, governance. And when we say governance, we mean applicants should be able to demonstrate their management teams, boards, or other governing bodies have the skills and experience related to bond underwriting and bond stop-loss programs and small business development, and possess the program management, legal, business administration, and management skills required to oversee the program. Now, I'd like to talk for a second about the application and provide an overview of what has to go into it. And again, this portion and all other portions can be found in detail in the published RFA, which is available on the DMPED website. So DMPED is requesting applications with the following sections in PDF format to respond to the ECAF RFA. Applications will be evaluated based on the following criteria outlined below. Failure to demonstrate how the proposed project meets these criteria may reduce the application score. Applications should be prepared on an 8.5 by 11 inch page format using 11 or 12 point Arial, Calibri, or Times New Roman type, and should be submitted electronically to DMPED through GIFs online. The application includes the requested information below: a cover page with the contact information for the program applicant, the name of the organization, the key contact, a mailing address, telephone number, an email address. The application itself should include a narrative response for the program, including an applicant introduction, a portion that discusses the various sections that will be evaluated, such as expertise in administering a bond issuance and bond stop-loss program for small businesses, an explanation of the applicant's commitment and experience in investing in small businesses in communities that have experienced historic disinvestment, an explanation of the applicant's program management experience, an explanation of the applicant's capital development experience, a description of the applicant's organizational capacity and governance, and an explanation of the applicant's financial viability. Additionally, any prime or subcontractors that the organization does business with related to the services of the RFA should be provided. Scoring criteria are as follows. We've talked about each of these 6 areas before, but this is the percentage weight that will be assigned to each of the areas. Expertise in administering a bond issuance and bond stop-loss program will be assigned a weight of 35%. Commitment and experience in investing in small businesses and communities that have experienced historic disinvestment will be weighted at 15%. Program management experience will also be weighted at 15%, as will capital development. Organizational capacity and governance will be weighted at 10%, and financial viability will be weighted at 10%. In addition to the narrative that must be submitted with your application, the following attachments are also necessary. Attachment A will be your organizational documents, for example, your articles of incorporation or bylaws. Attachment B will be your org chart. Attachment C are board resumes, if applicable. Attachment D, staff resumes, particularly any key staff that will be working on this project. Attachment E is your tax-exempt status determination letter, if applicable. Attachment F, certification by the District Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, also known as DCRA, to do business in the District of Columbia. Attachment G, your certificate of clean hands from the District Office of Tax and Revenue. Attachment H, evidence of good standing from DCRA, which has to be current within the last 6 months. Attachment I, audited financial statements and reports for the last 3 years. Attachment J is a copy of your basic business license. Attachment K is a conflict of interest policy and statements. And attachment L, the statement of certification. If you are a successful applicant, as described in section 10 of the RFA, you will be asked to supply the following 5 attachments afterwards. So if you are selected, you will need to have these ready to submit. Your proof of insurance, and there is a description of the insurance requirements in the RFA. Appendix B is going to be your electronic payment enrollment form, or your ACH enrollment form. Appendix C will be your EEO policy commitment package. Appendix D will be the grant agreement, which will be determined between the successful applicant and the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. And Appendix E is your ethics and accountability statement. I'm going to talk for a little bit about what the application review process will look like. It'll start with an initial screening. Prior to the formal review process, each application will receive an initial administrative screening to ensure that all required forms, signatures, and documents are present. An application will not be evaluated by the review panel if the application is received after the closing date, the application package is not complete, the project synopsis or description fails to address the project or the program priorities, and the application does not fall within the scope of the RFA. Approved applications will be reviewed by an independent review panel that will submit scoring, ranking, and comments. And then a final review will be conducted based on the review panel recommendations, the mayor's budget priorities, the resources available, and the goal of achieving a balance as to community served and the goals of the program. The Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development will make the final funding decision. The final funding decision cannot be contested or appealed. We anticipate that the time for processing the applications will be 30 to 45 days after the date of application close. The Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development will send a response letter to all applicants, informing them of their status in the review process, and successful applicants will be asked to provide supplemental documentation. Any questions about the grant should be directed to our grants team. They can be reached at dmped.grants, that's grants with an S, at dc.gov. Thank you. At this point, I can open for questions for clarification, but primarily, I would like to remind people that the details for the grant are available in the RFA. And in most cases, most of your questions, I'm going to refer you back to the RFA. But if there was anything that I said that wasn't clear, I would like to use this as an opportunity to clarify any aspect of the presentation that may not have been intuitively understandable. You all should have the ability to unmute yourself. So if anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand or indicate you'd like to ask a question.
Good morning. You indicated that it was a requirement to have 3 years of audited financial statements. Is there an alternative to the audited financial statements?
Yes. Attachment, I believe that's attachment I. The document that goes along with attachment I will allow you to provide professionally prepared financial statements in the event that your entity is not old enough to have audited financial statements.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Maria Sims. Is this for only a nonprofit?
No, ma'am. During the presentation, you guys won't be able to see this, but I'm gonna flip back to the presentation just so I can read it exactly. Um, eligible applicants include 501c3 nonprofit corporations, joint ventures, partnerships, cooperatives, and limited liability types of companies or corporations.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Regina. I have a question. It seems it seems like we kind of got what was on the website. Do you have someone that we could speak to that will go in detail if we run into any types of questions or concerns that we may have when we're completing the application?
Yes, ma'am. That email address that I gave out at the end of the presentation, dmped.grants, it's DMPED dot GRANTS at dc.gov. Please feel free to email that email address with any questions.
And Mr. Marshall, this is Trina Robinson. Are we allowed to have a copy of this your presentation after the group?
Yes, ma'am. I
Oh,
believe so. So what we typically do after these presentations is we will load both the recording and the PDF of the presentation so that it can be accessed by anybody who wants to see it.
okay, great. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Camille. I don't see my face for whatever reason. But my question is in reference to a nonprofit. The nonprofit it's already established. It's just that I just began the process to request my own 501c exemption. Is there any space for me to still apply or no?
I do not know the answer to that question. I will refer you to the email address so that I can reach out to both our legal team and our grants team to make sure that we give you an accurate answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Marshall, Lester Cuffy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Good. Marshall, when you say joint ventures, that applies to profit and nonprofit groups partnering, am I correct? Or two nonprofits partnering together, am I correct in that assessment?
So entering as a joint venture would require, so first I would actually ask you to send that as a question to the dimped.grants email address. But one of the other things I didn't mention is that the questions that we receive will be responded to and posted so that anyone who has these questions might be able to benefit from the question that you ask. So I would actually invite you to email that question to the dimped.grants at dc.gov email address so that we can give you a full and thorough response.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Of course. Anyone else?
That's it.
Okay, so I would like to thank you all for taking time out of your day to attend. And if you have any questions, particularly once you've been able to read through the RFA, if there are any questions about an aspect of the RFA that isn't clear or an aspect of the application that you're not familiar with, please feel free to email dimped.grants@dc.gov. It will probably make it easier for us to administer the question process if you put ECAF grant question in your subject line, but someone will respond to your question. And again, these questions will be compiled and put on the website so that other potential applicants can also benefit from the information that you're getting as well.
Hi, can you repeat what we're supposed to put in the subject line again?
Oh, you don't have to, but it'll just make it easier for the person administering the mailbox. The abbreviation for this grant is ECAF, and that stands for Equitable Capital Access Fund. Put ECAF question in the subject line just so that it stands out.
Oh, Mr. Karim, one question. What was the email again?
Actually,
That grant?
If you look in the chat, it's actually been put up in the chat. It's dimped.grants.
Oh, I see it.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
of course.
Hello,
All right.
hello there. I was wondering, is the deadline on Monday?
No, sir. At the start of the presentation, we said that the deadline has been extended to April 12th.
Okay. So, how do you get to the application? All I see is the guidelines when I go on the link y'all sent.
The RFA is on the DIMPED website.
Okay.
Let me go to the website and I'll do a screen share so that everybody can see what it looks like in case you haven't been able to get to the application. Hold 1 second,
Yeah,
please.
because I got a little confused that way. That was the first place I got confused. I'm not.
Okay, so I'm going to paste the address in the chat so that everyone can see it. And then I'm going to screen share so that you can see what the page looks like. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, so this is what the application looks like. This is what the application page looks like. You'll see that the NOFA is available here. The website will be updated to show that the closing date is April 12th. But the attachment, the attachment is, so this is the attachment for the NOFA, and the RFA should be on this page as well. So I will reach out to our web team and make sure that the page is updated to actually show the accurate page.
Okay. That was the whole dilemma. Like, we really don't know. I get the email at the last minute. Then you say the deadline is Monday. Then they don't say when y'all gonna update. You know, it's like you said, y'all gonna extend it to the 12th. When we gonna say it on our emails?
Sorry, say that again.
I said when we were gonna see when y'all was gonna extend it. I don't see it in my email. I thought it was gonna be over, so I've been rushing.
Okay, well, the extension is until April 12th, so my apologies for that confusion. And we'll clarify with our web team to make sure that the website is accurately updated.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
It just need to be updated.
Okay.
Do you know when it's gonna be accurately updated? Because that's how I follow my emails.
It'll probably be updated before the end of the day.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, then I will stop the video. And again, if you have any questions that you wanted to send in, please use the email address, dimped.grants@dc.gov. And we look forward to seeing your applications.
Is there a cutoff for questions, sir? Is there a cutoff date for questions?
The 30th will probably be the cutoff date for questions. We usually end it, I'm sorry, the 6th will be the cutoff date for questions. We usually end it the Tuesday before the closing date. So April 6th will be the cutoff date.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, please make sure if you're not speaking or asking a question that you are muted. Okay. If that is all everyone has, then I will look forward to your emails and your questions, and we look forward to seeing your applications.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.